it's a tough close because it's like one of those things that when you buy, you want it to be perfect.
Hey, check this out. So, I got a slightly different episode for you guys today. I have some very interesting friends. And what I noticed is that despite the verticals that we're in, there are some things that are consistent despite the business. And that's what I wanted to highlight with these type of interviews. So, it's a little bit of a different change of pace from where Derek and I are breaking down a specific topic. Rather, I'd like to kind of pop in periodically and share either through text or me popping in on post editing like this, part of a one-way conversation with some of my great business friends. So I hope you enjoy these type of segments. We'll be popping these in occasionally. It's a different way for us to pop into these conversations and have takeaways that we can apply to our business today, despite the vertical that we're in. Hope you enjoy.
So the guy's, poo-pooing on seaplane flying. He's like, I land on the lake and then so what? I go, well, what do you mean so what? He goes, I didn't think it was all that fun. I was like, I don't think you were doing it right, man. He says, well, you can only do so much. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you land an airplane on a piece of water and then you pull up to a restaurant in the water and that doesn't change your life. And he wasn't doing all of the fun stuff. So I think there's something. Could you imagine if somebody came to you and said, yeah, like I tried your mom's cooking. It wasn't all that. Like, bro, that's like fighting words. Like, what are you talking about?
In this short video with Gary, we're going to talk about things like business implementation affecting the use case, leveraging content to fix bottlenecks in your process, and how to listen to your prospects' behavior more than their words.
No
Check
kidding.
this out.
Mhm. Yeah, TikTok definitely got the biggest one. I got a couple that are close to 1 million, and I got one that went to like 4.6 million. Um, yeah, and then YouTube, I think I know I have one over 100,000 relative to the product, and I think I got another one that's at like 50 or 60,000 views. But last year in total, I think I did 20 million impressions across all the stuff that I did. I think first I'll say I enjoy it. So I do enjoy creating content. It's part of it is fun for me. Some of it is not fun for me, but part of it's fun for me. If I can find a way to make creating content easy, that's when it's fun. Sometimes I get a big idea and then I go to execute on it and it can be a little bit difficult and I never get that finished product out and you can't beat yourself up about that. So the short way to say how do I leverage it is just I get an idea in my head, and most of it is objections or bottlenecks in a process that I keep running into, and I'll take that bottleneck and I'll turn it into a video, and that way as those bottlenecks come up I can insert that video into my process, and that will help a prospect to it'll help me save time because it reduces. If you have that piece of content, you can reduce a 10-minute process to you know your effort 30 seconds. For example, every time I get in the airplane, I have to give somebody the same 10-minute spiel about the airplane. We talk about how to get in, how to get out. We talk about some of the emergency systems, and then we talk about how some of the electrical and power systems in the airplane. And I've done 108 demo flights this year so far. So map that out. That's 680 minutes, or yeah, or I'm sorry. Let me was it's 1080 minutes, which is 18 hours. 18 hours of my life this year in a plane with a prospect saying the exact same thing. That's 10 minutes. So this 10-minute thing is taking up 18 hours of my life. So this project that I'm working on now is getting that 10-minute spiel in a video. And what I'm going to do is as I have prospects that sign up for demos, when I confirm their demo, we already have a few emails that go out to them. And this is going to be another one. Watch this 10-minute video before your demo flight. And what that's going to do is it's going to save me, it won't save me 10 minutes, but it might save me 8. Did you watch the video? Yes. Excellent. Well, here's how you open, here's how you close, here's the parachute, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and start the checklist and fuel pumps on. And that just getting somebody there, like not having to provide the background on that context, it saves me a lot on this. Now that's an operational saving, but on the I have a feeling it's going to help me on the sales side too, because some people watch a video once, some people watch a video until they understand everything in it. And I have a feeling that the people that are in some sort of genuine evaluation of the product, they're going to want to sit and absorb, pay attention to every single part of that video, and I'm going to pick up on things that some people are paying attention to and some people aren't. I think that some people that just want to get in the air and have a demo flight and get the picture for the Instagram, like I can already pick those people out to begin with, but I think that's going to be another layer to validate my suspicions that they're not genuinely considering the product. And I think that somebody that is genuinely considering the product, you start telling that person, here's what these systems look like, here's how they operate, and here's why we check them, and here's how we check them, and here's safety systems that are involved, and here's how we check them, here's how you would use them. They're going to be able to rattle off those answers as I'm going through this, and I'll be able to kind of use that as this person is actually, this person's in this thing with me, they're in genuine evaluation mode. I think it'll be, and usually I kind of have to, when you throw somebody in a learning environment, they're a different person. They're not necessarily. I always there's a phrase that I heard a long time ago. It says that the inside of the airplane is the worst classroom on the planet. Like when you're in the plane is the worst place to learn. So imagine like you're going in an airplane and then you've never flown this thing before. You know it's different than anything that you've ever flown before. You've never landed on the water. Everything is new, and when you're in an environment that everything is new, your brain's in a different place, and everybody enjoys it. So you can't necessarily just use the enjoyment factor as a qualifier. Nobody thinks they're in the market for this, and the people that think they're in the market, I kind of don't. I very much I listen to people, but I listen to their behavior more than I listen to their words. And if your behavior says that you're not buying anything, then you're not buying what I'm selling. And so and that's not a disqualifier. It's just you're not buying anything. If you're not buying anything, that's not a personal thing. It's not personal on me. It's like you're literally not buying anything. So how like so that's I do a lot of um self qualifying with prospecting, like I'm or with my prospects. I'm not necessarily um I'm not disqualifying people, but I'd be like, tell me why you think you're a good fit. So if I'm listening to you and you're saying you've got your life set up perfectly and you've optimized everything, and then suddenly my product gets into your atmosphere and you want to see if you can fit it into your ecosystem, like that's great. I'm honored. Like thank you so much for your consideration. Here's the problem. There's 4 billion things you could have bought, and I'm convinced that some of them are attractive to you and you're not incorporating those things either. Why is it that this is what you've decided you're going to incorporate into your life? I need to know that, because at some point, when especially when I get to that like 5% where people have to jump into the unknown, where that little bit comes out, I have to know that that's not going to be an objection, and if it is, I have to be prepared to handle it. So now I'm just following up with all my demos, the ones that have actually like responded positively down the funnel, and people that I feel like I've got near term objections I can solve and go. Of course, I got to like demonstrate that I'm here to handhold and help them, and then and empathize with that too. It's just nobody needs this thing that I sell unless you don't want to feel like you're living. So But if that is you, if this thing makes you feel like you're alive and you want to incorporate it into your life, and then we get to the brass tacks of how, and there's a lot of unknown, and I can cover like 90, 95% of that unknown. It's never 100%, but then eventually the prospect realizes that it's not 100%, and they got to overcome that last 5% on their own. And if you've shown that you're going to support them, you're going to help them solve problems as they come up, then they trust you, and usually it's a little bit easier from that point. Yeah, and it's for me, it's more like, where am I going to keep it? Where am I going to use it? Am I going to enjoy it as much as I think I'm going to enjoy it? And so I say, yeah, you can do it here. I had one guy go. This is last week. I'm sitting in the lobby of the airport where I was waiting for a demo to show up. Demo shows up. There's another pilot in the lobby, and he goes, "Oh, is that your icon out there?" And I said, no, yeah, it's mine today. I'm a sales director. Going to be flying this guy. And he goes, "Yeah, I used to have a seaplane, and then I got bored. It's kind of like, I can land on the water. So what?" I'm like, "So what do you mean, so what? Like, you're bored." What I told, and usually I'm not like abrasive with people um, because I just don't enjoy like, um, I'm not going to argue with a perfect stranger. It's like, okay, have a nice day with your misconceptions. But I'm with a prospect, and he's like poo pooing. The guy in the lobby is like poo pooing on seaplane flying, and so now I'm like, okay, I gotta like have a little charisma, a little bravado here, because I can't look bad before we go flying. And he goes, so the guy's poo pooing on seaplane flying. He's like, I land on the lake, and then so what? I go, well, what do you mean, so what? He goes, just I didn't think it was all that fun. I was like, I don't think you were doing it right, man. I think there's something. I think you missed. And he says, well, you can only do so much. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you land an airplane on a piece of water, and then you pull up to a restaurant on the water, and that doesn't change your life. And he wasn't doing all of the fun stuff. So I start getting into all the fun stuff. He says, there's nowhere to use it around here. I go, are you kidding me? And so I start rattling off stuff, and I'm not overcoming his objections as much as I'm not letting him future cast or inception these ideas into my prospect's head, because the prospect doesn't have the perspective that I do. And my perspective is, um, this thing is a crazy, wild, stupid amount of fun, and I can use it all day and still not do everything that I wanted to do with it. And that was, so the last thing I wanted was somebody that tried seaplane flying and didn't think it was fun, or think that there was enough to do to like put that idea in my prospect's head. That's a you problem. But it was good, because after I did the flight with the prospect, the guy goes, I don't know what that guy in the lobby was talking about. Like, he was not doing it right. So it was like, we're landing on the water, and he's losing his mind. He's like, what is he talking about? This is landing on the water is everything.